For 20-year-old Keely Bunker, the plan for the night was simple. Go to a concert, have a good time, and get home to rest up for a huge job interview the next day. But for her childhood friend, Wesley Streete, the plan for the night was very, very different, and only his plan would come true. This is the story of that night, a story about how a lifetime of trust can be shattered in just a few hours, and how a terrible secret can be hidden under one lie after another. Keely Bunker was a 20-year-old from Tamworth, England, and by all accounts, she was a truly wonderful person. Friends and family described her as compassionate, loving, and someone who just had a gift for making people happy. She dreamed of becoming a school teacher and had a huge interview lined up for a teaching assistant job, a moment she had been waiting for her entire life. On the night of September 18th, 2019, Keely was out celebrating her recent 20th birthday. She and her best friend Monique went to a concert in Birmingham to see one of her favourite artists. After the show, they weren't ready for the night to end, so they met up with a childhood friend, a 20-year-old man named Wesley Streete. This wasn't just some acquaintance, they had known Wesley since they were small children. He was a familiar face, a popular guy. The three of them went to a nightclub, and from the security footage inside, you can see Keely smiling, dancing, and just having a great time. But witnesses later noted something about Wesley Streete. He was drinking heavily, having about 3 drinks for every one the girls had. One person described him as a 9 out of 10 drunk. Still, this was Wes, the friend they'd known forever. That familiarity creates a false sense of security, doesn't it? You think you know someone. Around 2:40 in the morning, they left the club and got a taxi back to their hometown of Tamworth. The taxi dropped them off near Monique's house, and Monique, being a good friend, insisted Keely stay the night. She had a bed ready for her, but Keely said no. She was tired and wanted her own bed, and, more importantly, she had that huge job interview the next day. She needed to be rested for her dream job. As she was about to leave, she said something to Monique that is absolutely heartbreaking to hear now. When Monique voiced her concern about her walking home alone, Keely said, "I've got Wes. Wes lives near me. Wes will walk me back. It'll be fine." Wesley, despite how drunk he was, assured Monique he would get her home safe. Based on a lifetime of friendship, Monique trusted him. Around 4 a.m, Keely and Wesley walked off together into the night. The next day, the panic began to set in. Keely wasn't answering her phone. She hadn't come home. And then, the biggest red flag of all, she missed the job interview. The one she had wanted her whole life. That simply was not Keely. Monique immediately called Wesley. He claimed Keely wasn't with him. He spun a story about how he'd felt sick on the walk home, so he stopped at his house and left Keely by herself near a telephone box, assuming she'd walk the rest of the way on her own. It was a thin story, and the alarm bells were now ringing for everyone. Keely's father filed a missing persons report and a massive search began. Family, friends, and police fanned out across the area, desperately hoping to find her. But as night fell, around 9 p.m, the search came to a devastating end. Keely's uncle, Jason Brown, was searching in a local park when he found something near a small pond. An off-duty police officer who was nearby heard him cry out, describing it as the most horrendous scream he had ever heard. Jason had found Keely's body. She was partially submerged in the water, hidden under a pile of branches. He only recognised her by a bracelet on her arm. The last person known to have seen her alive was Wesley Streete, and he was immediately arrested on suspicion of murder.
It's not.
No, no.
It's not what you want, is to be back in the police car.
I just feel like I'm getting the blame.
No one's blaming you.
You said when I was at the house that all I needed to do was speak to the officer, and then I can go and look for Keely, and then you take my phone off.
But as my colleague said, at the minute, you know, there's a lot of people involved in what's happening, of which we are PCs, and there are people a lot higher up than us who are making decisions.
I don't.
Yeah.
Now, when you say you're going to take my phone, now I feel like you're blaming me.
No, we haven't blamed, mate. We haven't once since we've been sat in this car. I think your dad can vouch. We haven't once blamed you for anything. All we've done, we've been told by our bosses that we need to take us on the take on the scene, where it's gone, the route. So have a drive the route, and we are literally just following those instructions. And I know you've got a lot of questions. And I know your parents have probably got a lot of questions, but and I think it's obvious when I say that we've been with you, so I can't answer those questions because we've been sat in the car.
There was no grief, no shock, not a single question about the childhood friend he was supposed to have protected. There was only panicked self-preservation. But the moment that truly defined him, the one that showed investigators exactly who they were dealing with, came when he voiced his deepest, most urgent fear. He looked at them and said, "I just don't want them to laugh if they go through my Google." At that moment, it was clear. The only victim Wesley Streete was concerned about was himself. The autopsy would soon reveal the horrifying truth. Keely had been brutally raped and then strangled to death. The medical examiner stated that the act of strangulation would have taken minutes, not seconds. She had defensive wounds on her neck, where she had desperately tried to claw his hands away. When confronted with this, Wesley Streete began to lie. Lie number 1. He denied everything, sticking to his story about leaving her at the telephone box. But his phone's GPS data and CCTV footage proved he was with Keely when she entered the park. So, he moved to lie number 2. He admitted they went to the park, but claimed he playfully jumped on her back for a piggyback ride and she accidentally fell and hit her head. A tragic accident. But the autopsy showed no head injury. The cause of death was strangulation. When that lie fell apart, he tried lie number 3. He claimed that Keely had been flirting with him and they had consensual sex. He said that during a moment of passion he must have accidentally strangled her, but the defensive wounds on her neck told a very different story. She was fighting him off. And then there was this. His GPS data confirmed he went back to the crime scene 5 to 7 times after she was dead. Not to get help, but to pile more branches on top of her body, to hide her better. That is not panic. That is cold, calculated concealment. During the investigation, something even darker emerged. This wasn't the first time Wesley Streete had done something like this. 3 other brave young women came forward to testify that he had sexually assaulted or raped them in previous years. This wasn't a one-time accident. It was a pattern, a deeply entrenched predatory behaviour hidden behind the face of a friendly, popular guy. The trial began at Stafford Crown Court. For 3 weeks, Wesley Streete continued to lie, even taking the stand and telling the jury he accidentally killed Keely. After deliberating for just over 8 hours on August 5th, 2020, they returned their verdict. Wesley Streete was found guilty of the rape and murder of Keely Bunker. And, because his arrest had empowered other brave women to come forward, he was also found guilty of 2 additional counts of rape and 3 counts of sexual assault against 3 other victims dating back years. The full, hidden pattern of his predatory behaviour was finally exposed to the world. On August 7th, 2020, Keely's family and friends returned to the court, wearing pink in her honour. There, the judge, Mr. Justice Jeremy Baker, looked at Wesley Streete and sentenced him to life in prison. He told Streete that Keely had thought she would be safe with him, but nothing could be further from the truth. He then handed down a minimum term of 29 years and 46 days before he could even be considered for parole. A month after her death, on October 24th, 2019, the town of Tamworth came to a standstill for Keely's funeral. Despite the rain, hundreds of people lined the streets. They had tied pink ribbons to every lamppost along the route. A white horse-drawn carriage adorned with pink bows and feathers carried Keely on her final journey to St. Edith's Church as the town fell silent to pay their respects to a bright, caring, beautiful girl. Thank you for joining me for this incredibly tragic and important story. If this story has brought up anything for you, there are resources available in the description below. Please share your thoughts in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.